My sister died during postpartum and I'm a complete wreck. My 28-year-old sister gave birth to her first daughter 2 weeks ago. I 17F was in the hospital together with my parents and her husband. The birth went pretty smooth, although she was screaming so loud. I was so excited to be an auntie, and holding my newborn niece in my arms was a precious moment. Everything seemed fine afterwards. My sister came home about 3 days later and she and her husband stayed with me and my parents as they needed help to take care of the baby. But 2 days after she came home, she was experiencing exhaustion, pain in her body, and she constantly fainting. She kept insisting that she was fine, but our mother said that fainting is not fine and brought her back to the hospital, where they discovered an infection or internal bleeding or both somewhere in her body, and they were unable to treat it in time despite giving her mounds of antibiotics before she passed away 2 days later. A week has passed since, and 3 days since the funeral. I can't stop crying and thinking that if the doctors had noticed that something was wrong, my sister could still be alive. I loved my sister to death. She was my role model growing up. Now I lost her forever and only have my niece, who is completely unaware of what's going on. I'm sad, and angry, and upset, and I miss my big sister so freaking much. I can't talk about this with my friends, and she was my only sibling. My parents aren't helping much as they're also grieving, so I don't know what I'm expecting to get from here, but I'm just a complete freaking wreck. I accidentally shit the bed in front of my boyfriend. Warning. Don't read this if you have any problems with feces and that kind of shit, pun intended. Someone told me that I should share this embarrassing story, so here we go. Disclaimer, English isn't my first language, so I'm sorry for all the spelling/grammar mistakes. Me, F18, had just gotten in a relationship with my new sweet boyfriend, M20. A little info about me. I have a chronic stomach wound which pops up whenever I'm really stressed. The relationship was very new, so we were both still quite shy. We had just gotten comfortable enough farting in front of each other though, and often made a joke out of it. About a month into our relationship I had to go to the hospital with my stomach wound. I was there for a week and he was super supportive the whole time. When I finally got home from the hospital my body was so weak, I wasn't allowed to drink or eat anything the whole week because of the tests they had to make. Therefore my body had pretty much shut down, nothing had come in, so nothing came out. I got prescribed some laxatives that I took, never having taken them before. I didn't know what to expect, but it definitely wasn't this. We were laying in bed, I was on my side looking at my phone, and he was half sitting up in bed playing RuneScape on his laptop in front of me. I could feel a fart coming, so I looked up into his eyes with a smirk face expression and said, "I'm shitting." I meant to say I'm farting, but the words came out wrong. And so did something else. The moment I said it, I let it all out, still with a smirk face expression, looking him right in the eyes. You could hear a wet bubbly sound, and I instantly knew what had happened. My smile faded and my face turned to horror. My hand flew down to stop the flow, but it was too late. Boyfriend jumped up and ran to the toilet to bring me paper. He helped me clean up while just laughing hysterically. I was so embarrassed that I couldn't even say anything. Later when we sat and talked, he told me that it was the most intimidating thing he had ever experienced. The way I looked right into his eyes, he had never felt so dominated in his life. Like a monkey shitting in its hand and throwing it. Needless to say, we got very quickly comfortable with intimate things like that after this. Even though we've broken up since then and it's been a few years, I'm to this day still just as embarrassed. I broke up with my boyfriend because he hurt my cat, and my friend says I'm being overdramatic. I, 30F, have 2 cats, Coffee and Waffles. Coffee was rescued from off the streets, and doesn't really like anybody but me. I had my boyfriend over the other day, and we were just hanging out. Waffles was being all cuddly with him while Coffee hid in my room. He really wanted to pet Coffee because Coffee looked like his childhood cat. I told him that it would take time for Coffee to warm up to him and to not rush it. I went to the bathroom and was scrolling on my phone when I heard Coffee wailing in pain. I quickly went to go check on him, and found my boyfriend towering over him. I shoved my boyfriend out of the way to check on Coffee, and he was holding his paw up like it hurt and was cowering in the corner of the room. I asked my boyfriend what happened, and he said that stupid cat scratched me. He then showed me some scratches on his arm. I took Coffee to the vet, and thankfully he wasn't hurt that bad. They said to just make him rest and he'd be fine. By the time I got back to my apartment, my boyfriend was gone. I texted him to explain to me how Coffee got hurt. He told me that he went in my room to pick up Coffee. Coffee got scared and scratched him, so he threw him against the wall. He worded it more vulgarly than that. I texted him that he can't just throw my cat against the wall, and that we were through. He then tried to call me, but I just put my phone on silence. I told my friend about this at work, And he said that I was being overdramatic and irresponsible. He said that I shouldn't end my relationship over a cat, especially considering that the cat wasn't even hurt that bad. I've been feeling pretty bad now, so was I being overdramatic?